You control the action. You control the driving. You can't control your drinking.
Grand Theft Auto 3 is not a revenge story. I can give you one piece of evidence that I think pretty much confirms it. You can go ahead and skip the video if you only clicked it for the baity thumbnail. Look at what happens when Claude catches Catalina and Miguel at the construction site. He has the drop on them. He has all the time in the world to blast them both right now. And what does he do?
Who the heck? You!
2 warning shots. So there you have it. Claude is not interested in revenge. Okay, but actually stick around, because this leaves us with a lot of unanswered questions, like, why does he keep tangling with Catalina? And if he's not interested in revenge, then what is he after? That's what we're here to address. Let's start with the easy question first. Why does he keep tangling with Catalina? This one is obvious, and it's honestly embarrassing that you would even ask. Claude is enigmatic. He never speaks, and it's difficult to even judge him by his actions, as he's usually just carrying out the will of his employers. But Catalina is an open book. Expressive, impulsive, and she never shuts up. She tells CJ and Claude both that sleeping with them was just business. And she tells Claude that she's only betraying him because she's too ambitious to keep kicking around with a small-time bank robber. But she admits herself that this is double talk.
When I say just business, I mean that I love you!
What the fuck?
When I say I no interested no more, I mean that I love you!
Throughout Grand Theft Auto 3, it's not Claude going after Catalina, it's Catalina going after Claude, when he would probably be just as happy to simply never see her again. Imagine the kind of relationship they must have had in their 8 or 9 years of Bonnie and Clyding all over the country. She tries to rile him up, get a reaction out of him, and he gives her absolutely nothing, just stone-faced apathy for nearly a decade, and that's probably what kept them together. Claude was simply a challenge that she couldn't overcome and couldn't let go. CJ was easy. You just bang up his car and make a few crank calls and he loses his shit.
Hey, wait a minute, bitch!
Claude is like trying to play your manipulative little love games with a brick wall. So the entire story of Grand Theft Auto 3 is Catalina simply wanting acknowledgement, and the only reason Claude ultimately engages with her in the end is because she hasn't left him with any other choice. This is probably why Claude shoots Maria at the end of the game too, if that's how we interpret the ending.
I broke a nail and my hair is ruined. I mean, can you believe it? This one cost me $50.
He's been through this once before, and he's learned that if someone keeps bringing trouble to your doorstep, the only wise course of action is to sever ties with them as comprehensively as you possibly can, and as soon as you possibly can.
All my fault because I told him we were an item. Don't ask me why. I don't know.
This adds an interesting wrinkle to Catalina's characterization as well. It took her almost a decade to finally pull the trigger on Claude. With that in mind, we can infer that CJ was never in any legitimate danger with her. She just wanted a reaction. And Claude's indifference to her manic episodes was something she probably read as a kind of emotional abuse. While Claude's motivations can be hard to pin down, he's at least motivated by an instinct for survival, or he wouldn't have made it this far in the criminal underworld. So here's another question. If Claude isn't motivated by revenge, why does the game give us so many good reasons to take revenge? Well, consider the key word there. Us, not Claude. Claude's motivation for killing Salvatore Leone is most likely the stated reason he's put up to the job, so that his new employers will know that they can trust him. If you want to chase Salvatore up and down the street and savor the kill, that's on you. If Claude were motivated by revenge, then there's a few people he'd have on his shit list over the attempted car bombing. But he never even pokes around to find out who was in on it. In fact, he keeps going to 8-Ball's garage despite the fact that this guy would almost certainly have been the one to have supplied the explosives. This brings us to the big question in GTA 3. What's with this guy anyway? First of all, he's not really like all those JRPG silent protagonists where it's implied that he's saying what we're thinking. And he's not like other silent protagonists in Rockstar games who tend to be incredibly expressive through pantomime, emotes, and even customizable walk cycles. The only bit of clear, nonverbal communication we get from Claude is that he sometimes flips the bird at careless drivers. We know from San Andreas that Claude is canonically mute. It's not an artistic flourish or something. He doesn't talk because he literally doesn't talk. Claude reminds me of Mersal, the protagonist in Albert Camus' philosophical novel The Stranger. As Thug Notes puts it,
"This thug don't seem to get bent over much of anything."
The book follows a Frenchman who is essentially defined by his apparent apathy. He has no reaction to his mother's death and regards a friend's violent, abusive nature with indifference, taking no real notice as the prick beats his girlfriend. The key incident of the novel is Mersal's seemingly unmotivated murder of an Arab on the beach. Mersal maintains a calm, disaffected demeanor only until confronted with the inevitability of the death penalty, where he caves, lashes out at a priest, and frets at the hope of escape. We never see how Claude would respond in the face of certain death, if he would start sweating bullets or remain as stoic and detached as he is when carrying out murders and assaults. To really get an idea of who Claude is, I think we should look at a quest line where he can't be said to have any personal involvement whatsoever, and lucky for me, my favorite quest line in the game fits the bill. Almost as if I made this whole video just to talk about the crook, the thieves, the wife, and her lover. This questline starts when Claude hears a random payphone start ringing on a street corner and decides to answer it and do whatever the guy on the other end asks of him. This leads to a series of missions that sees Claude taxiing his client's associates across town to the bitchin' dog food factory where the owner, Marty Chonk, murders them and presumably chops them up and packs them into dog food.
Easy there, partner. Whoa! Put it down. Come on, put it down.
After each delivery, Claude is tasked with respraying or disposing of the car until the fourth mission, where Marty's target pulls out a shotgun and blows him away.
Carl, hi. I need more time to get your money. But if you just step into my office...
It's far too late for that, Marty. You had your chance, but now I'm taking over the business.
Here's some interesting things about these missions. First of all, Claude doesn't commit a single serious crime over the course of the entire mission line. He dumps a car in the ocean, which can carry a stiff fine, but probably won't land him in prison. When Marty's bookie, Carl, gives him the old 12-gauge enema, you're actually in free roam mode, the mission victory music starting up just as he pulls his firearm. So you're not even witnessing a single crime take place over the course of these missions. We can infer that Claude can infer what's going on behind closed doors here, but Marty phrases everything in allusion and metaphor.
I've agreed to see him. He thinks I'm going to pay him off, but my guess is Liberty's dogs are going to get yet another flavor this month.
And here's another thing. You don't have to kill Carl, and Carl makes no effort to kill you. Claude has already done the job he was paid to do, and the bookie doesn't see you as a threat. Claude has absolutely no personal investment in any of this, and I think in any other mission in the game either. I don't think Claude has any motive in mind for anything he does beyond survival. Grand Theft Auto has, for the most part, been an Englishman's satire of American culture.
The original game was based on watching too many American movies and watching all that overhead helicopter chase footage.
And a big part of that is our relationship with money. We're number one in the developed world when it comes to prison, homelessness, and poverty. So for Claude and for Marty Chonks, income is tied directly to survival. The number one thing you learn if you study criminal justice is that economic anxiety is the root of all crime, and the only reason we don't address crime by expanding and strengthening the social safety net is because where's the fun in that? This is a theme across more Rockstar games than not, but especially Manhunt, where Carcer City becomes a playground for rich psychopaths, specifically because all of the factories are shutting down and people are out of work. But especially the Marty Chonks missions, with Grand Theft Auto 3 taking place 5 years after a dog ban first went into effect in Liberty City. Marty has multiple cars he's willing to part with, so there must have been some point in time where his dog food factory was flourishing, but now the money is running out, he's using one scam to pay off another, and he's looking at all of his partners and associates as expenses rather than as assets.
The business is going to go under unless I get a hold of some serious cash soon. My wife has an insurance policy, and all she's ever been to me is a hole in my pocket.
Like I said in another video, this isn't going to be one of those channels where I'm just using video games as an excuse to talk about politics and capitalism. This is kind of the central conceit of Hauser's entire career as a writer. So it's going to come up now and then if we're talking about Grand Theft Auto. I don't think Claude is a psychopath. I think he adapts to his environment without much concern for what's asked of him. In San Andreas, we only know him to be a street racer who, as far as we know, had never committed a single crime more serious than speeding. And he approached the track with the same indifference as he approaches the task of murder. It's all the same to him. It's just a day job. The Hauser brothers must have come to America and been shocked at how easy it is to fall through the cracks in the United States. And I imagine that Dan invented Claude as a kind of American Ubermensch. A man capable of any dirty job that comes his way, unbothered by distractions of love, kinship, and sentimentality. The character most suited to survival in such a punishing environment. We want to read Grand Theft Auto 3 as a revenge story because it's shaped like one, ending with the protagonist killing those who've wronged him in the beginning. But reflecting the stranger, this is the player trying to impose order and meaning where it doesn't belong, and In his silence, Claude is no more interested in denying this imposed order than he is in confirming it. The end.
Experience has taught me that a man like you can be very loyal for the right price.
If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.